the recording, what's your tag and how long you been playing?
My tag is that apples are cool, but I changed my tag a lot just because of like just like jokes within the community. So like right now, my Smash.gg is a horse who can't drive because it's a horse who can't drive.
Oh my god, you're that guy? That's crazy. I've seen that tag a lot in nightclubs. That's insane.
It's funny. Yeah, but I've been playing since June of 2019.
Okay. And what's like your goal right now?
Is to have a more like structured way of playing up. Because I feel like for me right now, it's just kind of like the back air show.
Yeah.
And yeah, just to have more like of an idea what I actually want to do with the character.
Yeah, I definitely got that idea from watching like this game. It was definitely a lot of like back air, back air, back air, back air type sequences rather than like using like the other moves. And then before I start like breaking this down, do you have any other like general questions?
I think we can use the VOD as like a segue.
Okay. Alright, yeah, so definitely the first thing I thought was like, yeah, you just only use like back air and like potentially the only other move you use is like forward air. So it's like the other moves are pretty good for sure. I mean, like one of the moves you like never have used in any of these in the game at all was down air. And down air is really good in terms of like you can like, let's say a fox is shielding on the ground, you can like shield poke them if you hit their feet, their tail specifically. That's pretty good at like high percentages in terms of like, oh, at like 80% it might lead to a grab, and that's really good. Or it can lead into another down air, which is harder to do, but the better you get, it's easier. And that could lead into like a rest, like if you've ever seen Solo Battle, he'll just like the dash jump rest type stuff. Have you ever seen like Hungrybox playing against like Sheik lately? I think against JMoke he did it the other day. He like does like drill rest against Sheik too, without even having a dash jump. So basically, drill lets you do a whole different type of combos, and it's just like really important, especially when you get to higher percent. And then also with drill, it's like against other characters, not Fox, because the thing about Fox versus your drill is same with Falco. They can both mash shine out of it if it's not going to true combo. So that's like that's probably why you intuitively aren't using it that much in this matchup. But the thing about it in other matchups, it's like, let's say it's like Luigi or something. Luigi does not have shine. His best like get off me tool, he has to put himself into the air with Nair. So he doesn't have like a fast like get off me tool. So basically at low percentages, he's going to have to do a spot dodge or do a roll or do a shield, light shield usually. So to beat that, you would just like read the spot dodge with a rest. Like that's a classic situation. Usually against most characters that don't have like a solid way to beat it, you can just like read what they do and then rest them off of it, or grab them if you aren't like super confident. So that's why drill is like really good. So I was like definitely like,
yeah, I think I use it in the air sometimes when like someone's trying to like get me out of the air. I'll try to like down air in place just to catch anything if they try to go up and hit me.
Yeah, I mean like that type of drill is like okay. The problem is though, drills like hitboxes don't actually like beat anything. Like let's say you use Nair instead to come down. Nair actually does beat things, whereas drill is more about catching their jump because it's a fast move. It's Puff's fastest aerial, so basically it's good to catch jumps so before they put out an aerial, but it can't beat any aerials turn out, so that's like the distinction there. But it's good to use like down air. Let's say like Sheik is like down throwing you, you can do like, and it's at like 0%, Sheik goes for down throw Nair, that's what they always do, and then you just do a down air out of that Nair hit stun. That's pretty good because Sheik can't actually get a move out in time, so that's like sometimes will happen. Against Fox, that type of situation never happens, so you can't really do down air to hit stun versus Fox. That's just a different distinction. Also, down air is really good in terms of edge canceling, more so than the other moves, just because you have a lot more time in terms of like how long down air is out to actually hit an edge cancel. So you probably see Hungry Box do it a billion times versus
Yeah.
Fox. Like that's like why he uses Downer most of the time. And also Downer, you don't lose that much height going for it, so that's why it's also good. So you have more control about when you can actually edge cancel. Yeah, there's like the main applications of Downer. Like you use the other aerials, so I'm not like gonna like basically like harper on the other ones, but yeah, no, Downer is just insanely important for sure. All right, let me get into the game. Okay, you definitely just mess up your movement to start the game. Was this ranked, by the way?
No, it's just me playing with my friend.
Okay, I was just making sure because on ranked, for some reason, the start of the game is like bugged, so it doesn't actually like resemble real melee. So that's why I would maybe think you could mess this up. But you should definitely never like have like a flub like this to start. Were you just trying to waveland off the platform or something like that?
Yeah. I think I kind of like because sometimes my shield drop timing isn't really the same, so I'm like thinking maybe I'll have a different timing after the shield drop, and I guess I just missed it.
Oh, you were trying to.
That's what I did.
Shield drop waveland off. That's what you were trying to do.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's actually crazy that you're doing. Like, okay, so in terms of like openers in general, I would either prefer to waveland off the platform or shield drop off the platform. Not both, because the thing about doing both is that Fox is so fast. I'm gonna use Fox's example here because he's on the screen. Is that you can't really cover both options. When you do a waveland off the platform, that lets you hit the character on the side platform. So that's why that waveland off the platform is good. Shield drop is good because you're already going to be on the platform, and then shield drop is going to let you cover center stage easier if they start dashing towards center stage. So like, I would definitely not try and pick both, because then you limit the already slow amount of time Puff has to even like creatively like make an opener. So that's like the distinction there. But yeah, you definitely should not like mess up like that basic test. Well, it's not really a basic tech skill. It's actually crazy you went for the tech skill in general. I wouldn't really recommend doing shield drop waveline off as like a I wouldn't really recommend doing it as like a thing in general, honestly. I think it's like too like it's like too if I'm shield dropping, I would rather be putting out an aerial or putting out an empty land into like a grab or something like that. Whereas like doing a waveline off is like isn't really going to accomplish the same thing. It's just going to eat a lot of time, which is pretty important in like spacey matchups because they're fast, or like Falcon or something. But this is like floaties, you could probably get away with this type of opener and like not get punished, but yeah, it's Fox, you should. Okay, so a big thing I noticed definitely through this game, you definitely you like shield in spots where I don't know if you're trying to shield. Okay, so I can't tell if you only shield grab, like you don't do like jump cancel grab, right? Is that correct or no?
Like in general?
Yeah, I feel like you don't do a jump cancel grab. You always do a shield grab as your like main way to grab people. But
yeah, I think part of it is that I feel like trapped when I'm in a shield, so like the best thing I do is like grab out of it.
Like, okay, so in this spot you didn't like have to shield, is actually the distinction. You like air dodged completely, like drift away outside of Fox's range. Like there's nothing he could have done to actively like hit you here, right? So when you do that, you can just like react and click grab is pretty good in general. But you do like you put yourself in the shield and then go for a shield grab. So like I'm trying to like think about like why you went for this shield grab. So I guess you were thinking you were going to get hit, so you put yourself in a shield. But then after that, like when Fox puts himself, he misses something next to you, he's either gonna shield, which he did, and then he's either gonna jump, which he'd also do right now. He could buffer roll away, he could spot dodge. All those options basically lose. You can't really beat them with just a shield grab after, if that makes sense. Like you can't like defensively, how to describe it? You can't defensively shield grab in spots where you haven't like, how do I say it? He hasn't hit your shield like with a badly spaced aerial or badly timed aerial. You kind of have to react to that type of stuff. In general though, I don't really like shield grabbing versus Fox as much as possible. It's good versus like Falco in some situations. You want to wrap a gift for Dad? Like risk reward wise, but yeah, I don't really like this type of shield grab in general. I don't think you actually had to go for... Oh yeah, I'll say about my piece about weak forward air, and as well too right now. I don't really like going for forward air as an approach a lot of the time, just because like the best case scenario is you get a weak forward air and like that's like it. And that's like kind of sad how it works, honestly. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, weak forward air is not really that good. If you just turn around and go for like a short hop back air, this is better. Also, when you full hop, it takes a while for you to actually have another threat open. And basically, whenever you play Jigglypuff, you want to be threatening, always. There's different distinctions of threat. Like right now, Fox is mainly threatened by getting grabbed. Or he doesn't want to take 1 billion damage in back air, so he'll shield or something like that instead. So, when he's dashing like this, you can just throw out like a short hop back air here or something like that, right? And then just like do a bunch of damage if you drift away. And doing this type of forward air means that you basically can't do a drift away. And also when you full up, you give him time to come closer to you. And it doesn't really like productively eat anything with this fair. It's crazy how he actually got grabbed here. I think this is probably just Sakurai angle where it's like low percent hits. They do like a little bit too little damage, then it'll put it at a nice angle if you get a grab. It's like basically why this worked. But I still don't really necessarily agree with going for fair here for sure. I don't think it's 7% like pre-grab you had to go for this up air here. I think this is just like unnecessary for sure. And also like if they DI'd that well, then you couldn't have gotten a rest. But that's just something to think about.
Yeah, thank you.
Whenever this fox, okay, so this fox messed up, right? So it's not like I'm not gonna fault you too hard here, but whenever you're in a rest lag, I would just buffer roll out of the rest for sure. So like right now, I'd not be sitting in shield. I would just be buffer rolling.
Yeah,
that's like a habit based thing though. That is actually the downer you were talking about earlier. That's crazy. I didn't see that on the first watch. Yeah, basically whenever you get hit in this game, you can't really try and get another hit immediately with Jigglypuff. Okay, so let's say you're Fox or something like that. You could potentially do like a short hop nair out of like a combo, or do like, I don't know, like a falling up air here, right? And Fox, this might work, or like doing a drill with Fox, because Fox's drill is better, and if he falls faster. But Jigglypuff falls slow, and she doesn't have really the fastest aerials in the game. So this just doesn't really work. And like I was talking about her drill not being as good in terms of like beating moves, it's more about beating jumps. So this type of stuff just doesn't work. So that's at least that example showed up. So instead of doing this drill, I would just jump away and just go for a back air and cover myself and drift fully away, and then try and reset neutral. And
yeah, so just reset.
Yeah, I mean it's like reset neutral is like honestly an annoying concept to say over and over again, but it's like, it's kind of how Puff works, where you want to get out of the bad spots as quickly as possible, but also like getting back to a good spot or even neutral, it takes so long that you kind of feel like you have to go for these type of down airs and stuff like that to get like to avoid that situation, but you just can't with the character. It's just like how it works. Okay, yeah, this is like another, like, if you just like drift to the side platform here, this will just be better. But you go for this back air, whenever you whiff a full hop back air in general, I don't want to say every character can punish you the same way, some legit can't. Like, if you have a full hop back air versus Peach in this type of spot, Peach cannot punish you if you drift away back air here. Then she just can't. But because it's Fox, and this Fox didn't have to shield here, I'm going to assume the Fox is not shielding as my example, because they didn't have to. So basically, any other character besides maybe Peach and like, I don't know, like low tiers like Ness or something like that, they can't like punish you if you double jump away. So that's like one distinction. But because it's Fox and because it's a character that can punish you, you have to choose a landing option. And a big thing about Puff is that you don't want to be predictable in your landing. So you either want to land here, which is like the pretty common Puff thing to do, or you want to cross them up, which is really good because they don't expect it. But it's also I want to call it like noob habit, but like just trying to like, it kind of looks at the same way, like you're trying to like hit him after getting hit, but realistically, you are just playing a landing mix-up. It's a distinction between getting a hit, because when I'm landing like this, I'm not going to throw out an aerial in this type of situation. I'm only going to throw out an aerial if, like, let's say Fox, like, I'm gonna again say he's not shielding here. He's dashing back, and like maybe I can falling up air as I'm like crossing him up, and his dash comes through here, and then I can get like a falling up air on a dash in. Like that's like the only distinction I would say. You throw an aerial in this spot, or you can double jump away. Like I was saying, is like the safe play against like floaty characters. But that's like a really important thing to think about whenever you whiff like basically any full hop aerial. Is like that's what you're thinking about, like how can I make my landing like unpredictable as possible. But if you do choose this type of landing like you did in front this again, I'm gonna assume he's not shielding here, you want to fade away to be able to not get punished here. But you do this like fade, like this neutral drift essentially, or you like kind of like fade in your back air slightly, which doesn't really make sense because you were in a bad spot. So you basically just let yourself get punished out of shield for free. This could have been shine out of shield too. Like you didn't space around shine out of shield, which was pretty important. Back air out of shield is like niche in terms of like he didn't have to go for back air here, where shine just made more sense. So basically whenever you're trying to get away, you have to drift away. But in that you have to, so in terms of timing back air, okay, so on this time I said you didn't really want to throw an aerial. This time you do most of the time because you want to cover dash in. So in terms of that, to cover dash in, you want to time your back air very early. And then if you're trying to cover like an in place type of situation, like let's say Fox just standing still or standing in crouch, then you want to time it slightly later. And then the latest timing would be if you're timing for a dashback to beat Fox's dashback. But because you were trying to land, you're never trying to beat a dashback. So basically anytime you're landing, you're only choosing an instant back air to try and land to cover Fox dashing in, or a slightly delayed back air to cover him in crouch cancel, basically. So you just don't really choose any of those types of back airs, and you just do like a very late back air on shield and don't drift away. So that was pretty important. Yeah, this is definitely what you're talking about, like the back air type of gameplay. So this back air actually was like not the worst, because so generally I do like going for jump reads with up air as Puff, but because up air doesn't knock down till 17% versus Fox, there's no reason really to always click up air in this spot. So you actually click the correct move with back air here, but the thing is you click back air again, and the reason I don't like clicking back air again is because it doesn't get you anything when you go for the second back air. You go for the second back air, he just crouch cancel shines you potentially. He could shield the second back air. He could run up like nair the second back air. So there's like a couple different situations you could have done after the first back air. And this second back air doesn't really beat any of them besides dash out of the corner. But the thing is with Puff, you basically want to make your, like, she doesn't win neutral a lot, right? So anytime you do win neutral, you want to make it big. In this spot, you're not going to like actually make anything big here by going for the second back air. But if you went for like a falling up air here, right? And Fox is dashing in, Fox dashed into a falling up air, he's not going to be in crouch cancel, so he will likely not be able to actually get a true crouch, and you will get like a falling up air rest or something like that, right? And that's like really good. Or let's say, like I was saying, he could just run up shield after like getting out of the corner, because they want to get out of the corner safely. So instead of doing the falling up air, you can do a landing grab. So that would be really good too. Whereas like most of your landings are always with back air, you're never really choosing like up air as a landing, or you're never really choosing grab as a landing, and both of them complement each other well, because basically if they try and shield, then you can grab, and then if they try and do a dash in, you can up air. So it's just really, really important to mix up.
Is grab the best thing to do at low percent?
Yeah, I mean, that's like, so what I was saying in terms of threats, like they're scared of grab, especially Fox players, and like Falco, for instance. They're scared of grab the most at low percent, so they don't really want to put themselves in a shield unless you've threatened like back airing them 1,000 times. I don't want to say 1,000, but like if you hit them with like, let's say you're here and Fox is here and facing you, you just go for an instant back air covering dash in, they run into it, and then they're like, okay, I'll just try it again. They just run in again, and you do the instant back air covering dash in again, And then they're just like, okay, well, I don't want to eat a third back air, right? And then they go for run and shield, and then you go for a tomahawk grab instead of going for a another back air, and then you kill them. So, like, the reason why Fox is going for shield there is because he got threatened by eating 1,000 damage in back air, because once he eats enough damage in back air, then your other moves get better. Like, then he eats one back air, he's scared of pound now. Because pound knocks down at 4%, right? Back air is 12. So then if he eats a second back air, he's scared of up air now too. So the more percent he has, the more threats that you have in your disposal, right? So basically, the only reason Fox is ever scared of grab at low percent is if you aren't threatening enough back air. So you have to threaten back air first in most matchups. Some matchups though, like the player or the character almost has gotten ingrained to the point that they don't want to jump or they don't want to like dash in, right? Because they've gotten hit by back air so much that their first option will be shield. Basically only Sheik is that character. Most of the time you want to be grabbing first instead of going for back airs versus Sheik. But against most characters, they will be scared of getting grabbed, so they'll just dash in, or they'll try to jump, and in which case you'd back air. And then once they start getting scared of back air, then you start going for grab again. So that's like kind of how it works essentially. But like obviously when you back air at low percent, you're not getting much, right? So it's a problem of you have to establish threat in order to get a better threat, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. You also do like anytime you hit a back air, or sometimes when you don't hit, you go for like back air up tilt is like a pretty common habit. In which case, like this combo, like back air up tilt, doesn't really work past like maybe like 10% pre-back air. I don't really, even then, I don't think it would actually work past 10% on a back air. It mainly works because of a Sakurai angle for sure. I think is why most of back air up tilts actually work. So past like 0%, I'm not using like back air up tilt like ever. In which case, I'd rather go for a back air turnaround grab because that's just more consistent punish too. So that's just like a distinction there. And also like back air up tilt is pretty slow. So it's not really going to cover yourself a lot against whiff punishes. So like let's say you whiff a back air and then you go for the up tilt to try and cover yourself and Fox dashes and shines. Sometimes you might beat that, but other times they might go for like a short hop nair, and you will definitely not beat short hop nair with your up tilt. So instead of doing like back air up tilt, you basically have to do either buffered roll or shield as like your main two options, or you can try and do a double jump away back air, which basically covers yourself as well too, but it covers yourself with the opportunity to land on a platform, to jump off stage where you can't get hit. So that's like a distinction there. You can't really cover yourself with like up tilt in the same way. It's more of like yeah.
So if you get hit a back air, instead of trying to go for the up tilt, I could like try to do a retreating back air to catch up. They're trying to chase me after it.
Yeah, that's I'm also saying when you don't hit it as well too. Like if you hit the back air, I'd rather you turn around grab than up tilt, honestly, in most situations, unless it's like a weird spacing where like up tilt makes more sense because maybe they can like shine you after the turnaround grab. Like there's not many situations I'd rather go for back air up tilt than back air grab. So yeah, but essentially like the covering yourself back air I'm saying is when you have like a medium amount of distance away from a character. So like I would say about here is like the medium distance. I'm actually like right here. So like where Fox's tail is. If Fox was facing right now, I would go for like, I whiff the back air and I'll go for a double jump back air. I'll go for a full hop back air away, retreating so I can't get hit. But like, let's say Fox is like, I'm here and Fox is like right here. Then I don't want to do that back air away because Fox can definitely just run up smash and just like trade with the back air, right? Or if it's like Sheik or something, she can like run up jab and try and just snipe my back air out of the air. That's pretty common too. So instead of doing it when it's really close to Fox or close to any character really, then you want to do a buffered roll away as your first option. Usually that's what Hungrybox does in most situations. He buffers roll out of like when a character is close to him. You can shield too, But the problem with shield is you have to play a shield mix-up right after. And most of the shield mix-ups in most matchups are unfavorable to you. Like, there's only a few matchups where spamming shield is like really the best thing, like Samus or something like that. So it's not like being in shield is great. So it's like that's like the distinction there. Yeah, you do the back here up tilt again. I would definitely recommend landing on platforms more in terms of like the platforms are really good. I feel like people just say like as a baseline, but don't really explain what it means. So like the platforms are good in order to reset your jumps, because having more jumps is really good, because obviously like the more jumps you use, the more predictable your jump patterns are going to be, because you have less drift with them, you have less height. So that's like the main thing about landing on a platform. But also the platforms let you like change the way you want to interact with like the approach or like a bait. Whereas if you like land on a platform, you have the opportunity to like wave land off back air, like I was saying at the beginning of the game. But you have like 1,000 different back airs you can choose from. You could do like wave land off the platform, back air inwards. You can do wave land off the platform, back air like this way, and then drift this way. You have wave land off the platform, double jump back air. You have wave land off the platform, wave land on the platform again, which is kind of similar to what you were saying about the shield drop, wave land on stuff at the beginning. But that's just less technical to do and a lot easier in terms of like less time spent. Or you can like wave land off the back of the platform to like go for baits. Like the importance of the platform lets you reset the way you interact with like the neutral essentially, and like change up your timings, because if you use the same exact timings every time in terms of like, let's say you don't use the platform at all here, you do a falling back here, or you drift away here and try and like get off stage, Fox can definitely just only have to worry about two things. Whereas if you do a waveline off the platform or waveline on the platform shield drop, then you create like 100 different things that Fox has to like think about in terms of the neutral. But you do the falling back here. At this distance, I would do a double jump. I would do a full hop back air away as my option, because I'm like at a medium range instead of doing an up tilt here. See how like literally like I was saying, like it's crazy how like you go for the up tilt and it just loses a short hop in there. So that's like how bad like up tilt is generally. Whenever I'm recovering as like a general situation, try not to pound when you're too close to stage, because either you're gonna get directly like this pound. Also, I'm gonna say I'm gonna use this exact pound too. Try not to pound too close to stage. Either you're gonna get shined, up smashed. And this type of situations, if this was against Sheik or something, they could literally just full hop back here from ledge and kill you. So like that's like not great. So whenever you're close, try not to pound and use more just empty jumps, or use aerials. But when you're using aerials, try and use back air rather than forward air, because when you use forward air, you lose a lot of height and a lot of drift control because of how long forward air takes to come out, how long it takes to end. Whereas back air, it lets you completely control your drift while using it a lot easier and lose less height. So definitely be turning around back airing right now. And I would basically choose, if the Fox goes ledge like that, I can go directly into center stage. He just gave up a free situation. But he gives up ledge again. So it's not like the worst thing in the world going ledge here. But I don't like doing like fair from ledge. This is pretty common, I would say, to do like lower level puff. The problem with fair from ledge is also because you got a weak fair. There, like, you didn't get anything off of it again. I don't know if you, do you do Uncle Punch Joel?
I do a little bit of Uncle Punch, yeah.
I'd recommend doing exercise just to make sure that you're getting strong fairs a lot. And like basically distinguishing between weak fair and strong fair. Because I feel like a lot of your fairs just are weak fairs in spots where like this should just like definitely be a strong fair, and you like probably should not like, I won't say the words mess it up, but like usually like you probably can't get a strong fair if you've like actively like labbed out the difference between both of the fairs, because obviously weak fair has its like place in terms of combo game. Like weak fair versus floaties is really good at like high percents, because you could potentially get like a kill with like up air or like fair or back air or something like that, or rest in situations you couldn't have. Or like whenever you're edge guarding Falcon, like weak fair is really good in terms of like he can't actually up B versus it. Essentially he'll just get weak faired over and over again. So like weak fair is good to have, but like not in these type of situations that you've gone for it essentially. But yeah, instead of doing weak fair here or even strong fair, I would do turnaround back here, because again, that lets me have more drift as well too, and then I can go further off stage with my back here than I can with my fair. Whereas if I go for fair, sometimes I can't even grab the ledge after doing the fair, and that just kind of sucks, especially when the character is closer to me. Then it becomes an awkward zone of like I have to drift off stage, but when I'm facing forward, then I have to turn around to actually get a productive back air out, and then it's just like, why I should just like be turned around back airing as the first like initial option essentially. Also, you can do a tournament winner in if the character gives up a lot of space. You can do a ledge dash on, or like kind of like a waveland on. No one actually does ledge dash with Puff. They do like a waveland, but don't tell anyone else. So you can do that too. I would say on terms of spacing, I would have done that. And in this spot, I would probably just jump away or turn winner backwards to get height on the fox, and then get him to try and commit at me. So whenever you are trying to land as well, you kind of want people to try and commit at you. And like let's say it's fox, they go for like a full hop up air and try and like hit your landing, and you like turn it winner back, you're trying to like land on stage, and they whiff and you falling up air them. Like you drift around their up air, you falling up air them, or double jump up air. Or let's say it's Falco, they go for like full hop down air to try and like snipe you to the off stage. That'll happen too. Or like let's say it's like Falcon, they'll go for like double jump up air, and that's the same thing, you just falling up air them. So a lot of like landing and getting out of like the corner essentially is trying to get the character to like commit at you. And basically the way to do that is you stay right outside of the range of their move. So let's say it's Fox's up air, you either want to stay above it or slightly left or right to it. I'd rather stay above it if anything. And then like, let's say it's like Falcon, then I would want to stay left or right. Same with Falco. So that's like a big thing in terms of landing. You're trying to like get them to commit at you, and if they don't, then you can take the free platform is usually how it works. Because if they're not committing, that means they're staying on the ground usually. Usually when they're committing, they're going to be on the ground. But that's pretty much the easy way to land in most situations. But in this spot, I would just do a waveline on because he gave me space. You could potentially turn it winner in, but it's a little bit scary because Fox, he wasn't at that situation fully committed to a dashback here. He could have turned around and gone for like a nair onto the platform, or turn a winner on would have lost. So I'd have just like the waveline on. That'd have been pretty good. Okay, so when you whiff this fair, this is again like a too close situation. So you have to pick between shield or buffer roll, and you don't really pick either. I think you actually try and up tilt again, which is crazy. Yeah, the up tilt did come out there. So yeah, that's just a big habit for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of that.
Yeah, so in the spot, I'd probably just buffer roll in. Past Fox is probably like the best option. Or you can do shield. And when you get hit on shield by the nair, don't shield grab it. Because usually Foxes will be able to space their nair on shield and shine you. Instead of doing shield grab, you can do a wave dash out of shield after the shine comes out. Or do it, okay, let's say you're facing backwards and the nair hits the back of your shield. After the shine comes out, you can up smash out of shield to shine. Okay, so both these are hard reads type situations. Potentially, instead of like the up smash out of shield working, and they can go for like a short hop drill after, and that beats your up smash. Only like 3 Foxes in the world do it, so I'm not really gonna like think about it too hard. Or you can like buffer roll after the shine comes out, after they do a continued pressure sequence on your shield, like the short hop drill type of stuff. So that would be good. So like those are like your main options as shield in terms of Fox. Generally, Wavedash as shield's really good to do against every character, always as like an option to get out of pressure. Like after the pressure sequence is done, then you do a wave dash out of shield, and then let's say they try and like hard read your wave dash out of shield. That's when staying in shield's good, because okay, so Fox is pressuring your shield. You decide to wave dash out of shield, and then instead of doing continuous pressure on your shield, they go for like a short hop drill, expecting you to wave dash back, and they catch your short hop drill. They jab grab you, jab up smash. Like all those options are all pretty good. But let's say you stay in shield and they go for the short hop drill, short hop nair on shield. Then they go for a short hop read on your like wave dash out of shield. Then you can just back air to shield them. You can turn around, you can wave dash turn around grab out of shield too. So all those are pretty good. So the shield mix-ups are pretty limited with Puff. A big thing also is you don't want to jump out of shield. You don't want to like full hop out of shield like ever. That's like not like a thing to do whenever you're like close to a character. It's always like stay in shield, buffered roll, or time away dash out of shield. There's like your options. Also, I'll smash out of shield in like certain niche situations. Okay. It didn't really make sense to up air here. I don't know if you just like weren't like looking at the screen in terms of like where Fox was, but this didn't really like make a lot of sense. This is like the first thing I've seen in terms of like not really like looking where the character is, I feel like. But everything else, I feel like you're like actively looking at the screen, so I don't know what happened here.
Yeah, sometimes I'm just kind of looking to get off the ledge, and I guess like maybe I thought, oh, if he goes to the platform, maybe I'll catch him, but that was just like me trying to get onto the stage.
Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to get off the stage, you can just do like a turnaround backer from ledge, like I'm saying, and you can auto cancel the backer after it comes out, so you just don't have to go through L cancel lag too. So also again, tournament winner in I think would have been probably best here, just because he gave up the platform. Okay. This was a jump out of shield type of situation, like I was saying. It's not really good to jump out of shield when character's pretty close.
Yeah.
If you're ever going to shield drop when a character is either above or below you, just click shield drop up air. It's like pretty important. It doesn't really make sense to like fair in this type of spot. It's actually crazy you got strong fair here and it actually connected. Is the crazy thing. It's a pretty good situation whenever you are getting attacked in the platform. Either shield drop rest is like pretty advanced and like niche, right? Or it's just shield drop up air as like a general rule of thumb. Another you hit the player's shield and then you don't do a drift back here. You just do a full drift like in. So if you did like a drift past him and like landed here, like I was saying, like that would be fine, like as a cross up situation. I don't really like it in this type of situation because Fox is facing backwards to me right now. So I'd almost always rather land here because you can't.
You can just up smash.
Yeah, he can do wave dash out of shield, jab up smash, and you can't really beat it. Like in terms of beating wave dash out of shield, jab up smash, or like in general, whenever you hit any character's shield, a lot of the time you can do like back air and then do like wave dash away as like a pretty general rule of thumb. It also comes up in other matchups as just like a general neutral tool. Like against Marth, if you do like back air, wave dash away, it's pretty hard to actually get like grabbed. But for Fox, if you hit the front of his shield and you do like wave dash away after, and he goes for wave dash out shield jab, sometimes you duck under the jab with your crouch, which is crazy. Or sometimes you just outspace it completely and you can grab him. But that also depends on distance and like full drift away. And in this spot, you just didn't have the distance to do that, so I'd agree with landing backwards. And yeah, he just can't. He can't do anything when you land like behind his shield here if you full drift away. Potentially he could do wave dash out shield, turn around up smash or grab if he's mango, but that's it. So definitely there's just no way you should get hit here. This Fox again goes for back air to shield. If they did shine out shield, then you're putting a tech chase situation, that would have been pretty bad. If you're gonna read jumps like this, just try and read them with up air again. Like this back air, I'm not gonna fault you on this one. Potentially Fox could have ran off the platform, and you can't really up air in this spot, so that's fine. So this back air is fine. But once you see him start drifting, start dashing back like this, start drifting in. Don't throw out this back air. Let's say Fox does like he doesn't stay. He stays on the platform. This jump off made no sense. Let's say Fox stays on the platform and starts dashing at you. Then in this spot, you can go for, instead of going for this back air, you just start falling. And then you can go for like a double jump up air, reading him like running off the platform. And then you could hit him for running off the platform. That would have been good. Or let's say he goes for a jump after doing a dash forward and goes for like a jump off the platform there, which is pretty common. Then you can go for a double jump read on his jump and then hit him for that. But like if you hit him with back air in this type of situations, a lot of the times they'll just hold down after a back air. That's like insanely common. Or the back air actually won't really combo anything, but if you go for up air, you can at least go for like up air rest in those situations, which is better. Okay, we have to full hop aerial again. This time you land on the front of his shield, but again, you don't do like a drift away here. And also, if I'm landing on the front of...
Yeah, that would have given me center stage. Too.
Yeah, you also could have just drifted back as well again. In general, whenever a character is shielding, again, in these types of situations, this fox shouldn't really be shielding in these spots. So that's why I like set it initially as like, oh, the character is not shielding. But because this fox is shielding, you should really just land like on the back of his shield almost always. Or go to the side platform, either are fine. But I'd rather land on the back of his shield and just test if he can really, truly punish me. But again, you have to full drift away on these types of backers on the back of their shield. And again, if you're going to go on the front of their shield or cross them up like you do here, I would rather just try and like go for an empty land grab if they're going to stay in shield. But like, instead you go for this backer, which doesn't work. So they're very scared. Okay, so now they're at 38%. They're scared of back air more than they are scared of grab. Because back air knocks down at 36. So it's like, then the threat level changes again. So like, they're going to shield a lot more, these percentages. Then you have to go for more grab. So like, basically again, like I was saying, the threat changes a lot based on the percentages in most matchups. And the higher percent, the more likely they're going to shield, basically. And the lower percent, the more likely you have to condition them to shield. So in this spot, they're going to shield.
And if they shield more, I can get more grabs.
Yeah. And then obviously grab is like the best at low percents, but you have to condition it, unfortunately. You didn't really SDI that drill, so you can't really get a grab out of this. So, yeah, you can't just like grab out of drill. You have to definitely just SDI it. Or just like shield DI it as well too. I don't really like this Fsmash, I'm not gonna lie. It worked, which is crazy. Let's see. In this spot, you don't really have a lot of options. It's crazy how this Fsmash works. If you want to do something like this Fsmash, but with less risk, I would just rather have grabbed, because grab puts you less committal. Let's say they went for a run-up shield here, and they just Fsmash out of shield your Fsmash, which is pretty likely they would do that, because they're above backer knockdown percent. So they do a run-up shield, but if you have a grab in place, they can't really whip punish that. They just can't. They try and like Wavedash shield after you go for the grab. You can just like hold down on the jab and like shield the up smash that comes out and rest that. There's a lot of different situations you can do. But if you do for this like committal S smash, you don't really get much as well too. If this fox is better, they could actually just hold down here completely and just slide off the ledge. But the fox is not better, and they do like probably the worst DI possible. The best DI probably would have been go up or go ledge, and they just do this like middle DI, which is not either of them. But whenever, okay, so this is a pretty big thing too that you don't really go for. Whenever you're edge guarding, you basically want to always jump off stage. It depends though in terms of like how much time you have. The less time you have, the less likely you should go off stage in terms of edge guarding. It kind of applies in every matchup too, especially against Fox and Falco though. Against Falcon it also works too. Against Sheik it works as well too. So whenever you have less time, don't go off stage. I don't fault you for not going off stage initially. Like this dash in here was fine, but once you see Fox put himself in Firefox, there's literally no reason not just jump off there and backer him, right? Because he's in Firefox for a really long time. There's like nothing you can do, nothing he can do essentially besides just like die here. So he should just be killed.
So but I could have hit him with the back air from here.
Yeah, you see how like much like wasted inputs you're doing right here. You're like, so you use like Dashback initially after the S-Smash too. Let's say, okay, so best case scenario, you like start like Wavedashing. Wavedash is like the fastest thing you can do to like get closer to him. So you like Wavedash and you end up here. And then right here, you have the option to either short hop and try and react to a side B, or you can stay on stage and react to the side B. Like let's say you go for a short hop here and it hits you out of the air because you think you had more time than you did. But instead, what you do is you stay on stage. I don't like doing this like dash type of movement. If I'm doing this type of movement to set up an edge guard, I'm doing a wave dash always. So I wave dash closer is what the option you chose. And then right here, once you see there's no side B, you can just literally up B. This up B is really bad by Fox. This should always get killed. You like you end your dash and you just like go forward, and then you waddle a little bit, you like walk forward, and then you go for a jab, which like doesn't make sense because that just like loses the Firefox, right? You could have potentially tried to Fsmash this if you expected him to go straight forward, but realistically, you can still just like jump out there and fair. Fair is really fast. There's no reason to like fear that your fair is not going to hit. This is kind of what I was saying in terms of like always facing backwards and also like staying outside of the range of like Fox's moves in this spot. Okay, so again, if you hit this fair, this is basically gonna be a weak fair every time, so don't go for this. But let's say you went for a back here instead. Trying to fight your way out of like the corner or like a bad spot or while recovering is like pretty bad, because you're just gonna eat these types of back airs and just like not really do anything. Let's say you hit this fair and it like strong fairs and like it beats the back air. Like realistically, Fox is just gonna land on the top platform and then tech roll in, and by the time you're done with your fair, he will just basically still be an advantage on you. And that's like the sad truth of like how these types of situations work. Even if you hit like the character, they will still have advantage on you or have center stage. So like nothing will change besides like you risking your stock to try and get a hit here. But let's say you intentionally knew that Fox was going to try and backer you, and instead of throwing out a fair, right, you just like drift away slightly outside of the range and then with punish with the fair or back air after. That would be good. That's like what I'm saying in terms of getting Fox or any character to commit in order to land. So there's a distinction there for sure. Okay, so this actually was a pretty good invincibility read. I like this a lot. Once you do this up air, you have to double jump right away. You can't like, what you do to here is you fall. You see how far you fall down there? Whereas like,
yeah,
if you just double jumped right away, then you can get a tech chase. As soon as you see the miss tech there, you can just clearly click rest, and then you just get a free kill. This is just like a common platform situation in general. Is whenever you're comboing and the up air that you're gonna go for is going to lead to a platform, you should always do a rising up air and then instantly double jump to try and cover miss tech. If they don't do that, then cover their tech roll, and then that would be really good. That's like how like platform tech chases work essentially.
Yeah, I think I just had the idea and I totally missed the execution.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, you get it back here anyways. It's really good. And then this spot, there was no yeah, that's like I'm saying in terms of like going off stage. I don't really fault you for grabbing ledge here. Let me see what else you could have done that was like probably better, because this grab ledge didn't seem that great. I would have tried to edge cancel the back here right here.
Tried to hit him off again.
Yeah, edge cancel if you can. Whenever you're trying to combo, try and get an edge cancel back here in order to basically lead into a free edge guard. Because if you edge cancel the back air, you would just like not be even thinking about like, oh, I have low jumps, I need to grab the ledge to get my jumps back. So if you edge cancel the back air, you could just drift with him and just basically back air anything he does. It's pretty impossible for him after you edge cancel the back air to actually make a real edge guard, a real recovery sequence. But you grab the ledge here, which is like, I don't like grabbing the ledge in terms of recovery, in terms of like Fox's like edge guard sequence, because when you grab the edge, then you basically stop covering the edge. I know that sounds stupid, but like once you grab edge, you kind of want to get off the ledge because you don't want to like get burned by the Firefox and shined out of it. That's like a pretty.
Then they can just go high.
Yeah, they can then go high if you just like hold the ledge the entire time. So in this type of sequence, I like the tournament winner off for sure. But you like drift in here for no reason, even after you see him like go into Firefox. So there's no reason to do that when you can just like run off there and hit him. I think you're probably just underestimating like the amount of like time you have, but that's just a big thing for sure. So if you can, the more time you have, like this time you had a lot of time because Fox is a high percent. You got hit in the back air knockdown pretty far away. There's pretty little like resources he has if you just keep running off stage and trying to hit him. Okay, this is the type of like, I want a platform reset somewhere in here. So after this second back air, I'm not gonna fault you too hard. And then right now, I would just be double jump back airing away to this side platform, and I could waveland off the platform, waveland back on. Then I'm going to try and get back to center while having more jumps. But doing this back air doesn't really make sense because you have low jumps and Fox doesn't okay, so now the threat changes still in terms of Fox doesn't want to jump anymore. because if they jump and they eat a back air off of a jump, they die. So they don't want to jump into a back air. So they're going to be grounded more at higher percent than they were at low percent. So that's just a big general thing. So they'll be like sitting in shield trying to like wave dash or like dash shield type of gameplay is going to happen a lot. So then you still go for more grabs at higher percent, or like I was saying earlier, you can go for like drills at higher percent to try and like shield poke Fox's feet, or if they're dashing in, you can like drill a dash in as well too. That also works. Okay, you do the same type of land on the back of his shield. Yeah, definitely had little space here, so picking shield is a fine option for sure. Again, still having the opportunity to like full drift away more on your backer is really important. How this fair even hits? Okay, I don't really like full hop towards my opponent generally, because again, when you're full hopping, it takes a while for you to actually have a threat again. Basically, when you're falling, you can go for a threat, but when you're rising, you don't really have one. Because when you're rising, like let's say you do like a rising nair here, you're not going to hit anything like here. Whereas if you're like going for a short hop, you could go for like short hop, delayed back air, and potentially hit him in place here pretty fast. Whereas you're full hopping, you can't really do that same situation. So you're falling with fair here, and you barely hit a dash back, which is crazy. Honestly though, if you want to do this type of gameplay, you have to also mix in a bait. You don't really like do a lot of baits in neutral. What I mean by that is like you don't do a lot of wave dash backs or like full hop backwards, and those are like the bait type of movements, like to mix in with this type of like approaching movement essentially, because Puff's approaches are pretty bad in terms of like she doesn't have great options always to like approach in the game. She's a very spacing based character and defensive in a lot of situations. So in order to mix up her good approaches, you have to either do like the double jump waveland stuff like I was talking about earlier and like changing up your timing, or you have to do baits where you have to wave dash back, which covers basically anytime you try to do a short hop or full hop inwards, right? And the same thing with full hop backwards, that covers when you do full hop inwards. So you have to mix in those types of movements in order to get these type of movements to consistently work. This spot I would definitely just jump off stage. Okay, so I hit this fair. I am instantly full hopping off stage right now. And also you want to face forward because it's easier to cover side B on reaction with forward air than it is a back air.
So that's like a situation where you would use the forward air?
Yeah.
If it's like you're low on frames?
Yeah, it's like the less time you have, the more likely you have to use forward air. Also, it's just a better hitbox in order to hit side B, so that's like why I'd use it too. So in this spot, I would not be waiting here. I would have full hopped off stage already, and then anytime he clicks side B, I just literally click fair, and it'll beat the side B on reaction. You have to have really good reactions in order to do the reaction type of edgeguard game. So if you don't want to do that too, is you can hard read options, right? So the less time you have, the more likely you have to go for a hard read, because if you don't have a lot of time, that means that Fox has more options, which means that you can't react to everything. So you have to do hard reads. So that would be fine too. Let's say instead of like instead of turning it like around and like trying to face him with forward air, you do the full hop off stage and you hard read that he was going to double jump back like this and then just back air, and that would cover the side B if he does double jump back side B or up B here. But it will lose if like he doesn't do that exact double jump backwards. So that's like the only distinction in terms of like hard reads or not. They only cover like really one set of jump patterns, whereas like the non-hard reads will hopefully cover everything if you're reacting properly. You didn't have to do that. That was a little bit scary, honestly. So just recognize when you can just roll up is pretty important for sure. Because anytime you miss those types of back airs and they just grab ledge on you and just shine you out of it, it's like the worst feeling in the world. So just also it stales your moves more, so that's important to do too. Anytime you have more staled back air, it's not great. Alright, you try and go for another like weak fair type of approach. But again, in this type of situation, he gave you free platform, so I'm down to sit on the platform, jump away. Maybe he commits at me with a back air, then I just back air him after I weave out of it. Or he goes for an up air, the same type of situation, I just weave out of it and go for falling up air. If he doesn't do any of that, then I'm going to, if he goes to center, for instance, then I'm going to go for like a waveline off approach. I do a waveline back air that hits him, dashing in, and then let's say he goes for a dash back instead of doing like a dash in, then I do a waveland pound because I hit further, and then I do like a waveland off the platform into empty land, which will beat him dashing back insanely far. Which is like, that type of sequence is like the main way you approach, I would say Fox, but also you can kind of blanket that statement in terms of approaching like any character, is like the more it's, I don't want to say it's like based on threat, but it's based on spacing. Like the more dashback they do, the more times you want to land with nothing, and the more times that they dash in, the more times you want to land with like an instant backer to cover dash in. Yeah, you could definitely gone for an up tilt grab here. Again, I still, like, obviously we don't want you to do like all these up tilts for sure, doing like a falling backer and doing an up tilt. Again, you basically whiffed a full up aerial here. I'll say you whiffed it because weak fair isn't gonna put them in any hit stun, like I'm saying. So I'm gonna say you whiffed a full hop aerial, full up backer, we'll say. And then in that spot, again, you have a few options. You can land this way, you can land this way, or you can try and double jump away. I'd probably double jump away in that spot because you're so high in the air. Whereas if you're lower in the air like here, then I think it's more likely you have to go for one of these options. But you get this up tilt actually after, if you're like habit. And then once you hit this, you can definitely just up tilt grab here. But you go for like a fair out of shield, so that was really weird. I don't know. I don't know if you were trying to do a shield grab right here, and that's why you whiffed and got a fair instead. But something to think about for sure. In this spot, there was no reason to land with a an aerial because Fox dashed away. Basically, a big thing is like, in order to get close to any character, is you can't do these types of double aerials type of fall. Like, so like an aerial rising or aerial falling, and then another aerial when you touch the ground. They limit the ability to get close to any characters. They're more of spacing type of gameplay, and also like autopilot type of gameplay too. Whereas if you land with an empty land, then you have the option to actually get close to a character because you're not going to be in lag. But in these type of situations, most of the time after, you have to cover yourself with a shield roll or a like a full out back air away, right? So that's like the big distinction in terms of like throwing out an aerial when you're falling is like, it's not really going to let you get close to a character and play like really aggressive mix-ups, or mix-ups you want to play like the shield stuff, right? You want to be able to grab a shield, whereas if you do these types of falling aerials every time, then you can never really grab a shield ever. This is what I was saying in terms of like, I feel like you click shield grab instead of like just tomahawk grab in general. Like right here, you know Fox is gonna go in shield, right? That's like kind of why you went for a grab, but like, I don't know if it's because you put yourself in shield because you thought you were gonna get hits. I don't know. I'm trying to think about like why intuitively you shield grabbed here, and I can't.
I think it makes me feel a little bit safer, but then it also is like doesn't let you really do much.
Yeah, it's like you lose frames by going into shield in the first place. So if you went for a straight up grab, you might have actually just hit this. But like I don't know if it's like you're not confident in your grabs, that's why you don't go for this stuff. But like you hit this sequence like multiple times on this player, and you actually hard read him going into shield this time because again, every single time you've done this fair on them, they've gone to shield. So you're like, okay, they're going to shield, but like, yeah, you can't really like do a safe aggressive mix-up when you're close to them, right? It's kind of how it works. You can't really go for this shield into a grab. You have to go for the grab straight up. And if you lose to shine out a shield here, or if you lose to like them not actually going into shield, that sucks, but at least you like went for the mix-up that would kill, whereas going for a shield grab is just way too late, for sure.
Yeah, I think this guy, he likes back out of shield.
Yeah, he likes back out of shield, but like, you definitely knew that he was going to go into shield in the first place. That's why you tried to go for a shield grab here anyways. It's not like you tried to, I don't think you tried to grab the back out of shield, because if you were trying to grab that, then you probably wouldn't have been able to get the grab anyways, because it would be able to get shined out of it. So that's important too. Okay, you go for another back air up tilt when you're close. This back air is actually not that bad if you drifted it back. I thought that would be pretty good, for instance, because you were covering dash back, so that would have been good. Instead of doing the up tilt here, Again, buffer roll or shield. Or in this spot, let's say you actually did drift this back a little bit more, I would do a Wavedash back. And I would basically be able to bait out this run-up grab or run-up smash or run-up jab. And that would be really good. In terms of, like, I can grab them after I do a Wavedash back and get a really high reward. Whereas, like I was saying in terms of threat, in order to get grabs, there's also baits in order to get grabs, right? So that's, like, really important in terms of, like, being able to get the most amount of grabs as possible at these lower damages if they're not threatened by you. Which, clearly this fox is, like, not really threatened by your back ears, so that's why they're not spamming shield that much. I like these low percents. Okay, in this spot, this was a good shield for sure. But again, you try and jump at a shield when a character is too close, so you get hit. And then you try and get a hit after getting hit. In this spot, I would double jump away and try and get away that way. You probably will get away in most situations if you do double jump away, because they are expecting you to try and get a hit after getting hit almost every time. So that's pretty important. Surprised you actually get this. That's insane. You just, like, randomly grabbed and actually worked. So if you're gonna do this grab, do a wave dash back, because at least that's a bait. Whereas this one's like, how do I describe it? It's gonna lose to almost, like, a lot more things, but a wave dash back at least covers the fact that you could just, like, do a jump forward back air or something like that here instead. So that's, like, the reason why wave dash back is really good, because again, it covers, like, all your aggressive stuff. This should definitely be strong fared. I don't think you should be able to get a weak fair here. Again, the exercise is really good for that. Again, he shields after the weak fair, and then you could have grabbed there again. You go for another falling. You can go for another falling aerial up tilts. Yeah, this is another shield grab after a drill, whereas you're not actually going for, like, SDI. This was actually close in terms of SDI too, but it's pretty hard to recognize if you're actually going to get an SDI out into a grab. In order to not die here, essentially, is you can try and go for, like, a buffer roll away, I think is probably best, or jump away after getting out of the SDI, and not, like, because if you, okay, so realistically, this fox should kill you right now. You are basically a death percent to grab, pummel, up throw, up air, I'm pretty sure, on Yoshis. Just from whiffing that grab, you could have died. So whenever you're going to die off of whiffing a grab like that, you should probably not go for it. That's, like, a pretty big thing with Puff in general in terms of risk reward. I don't think the risk was actually worth it there in terms of what you're going to get. Maybe you get an up throw, tech chase, rest, and you still trade stock anyways on that type of situation. So best case scenario, you're probably trading stocks. Worst case scenario, you were losing your stock. And that's not really good risk reward wise. So anytime you were trying to go for, like, something that's considered probably greedy, you need to think about, like, is this actually going to be good for me, like, most of the time. You try to shield grab in there on your shield. Again, you have to play a shielded mix-up, either roll away after pressure, wave dash out of shield after pressure, up smash out of shield to shine, or something like that. Play that to the end of the stock, and then look at the rest of my notes. Whenever you get out of SDI, a big thing is that you can't go for a hit again. It kind of feels like you can be able to go for a hit after SDIing out, but if this fox was better, after they whiff the up air on the SDI, they can run up smash right here on the fair and you die. So don't do this ever. So just double jump away back air if you get out of the up throw up air, and then you should be fine. Okay, so that was good. Again, you don't go for, like, staying with the character after going for this rising up air. It's really good if you're using the rising up air in general, but you don't, like, stay up there. If you just, like, after hitting the up air, you just double jump towards the fox, you can just kill him with a wrist. But instead you, like, go down more, which is not good. That's, like, it in general with sharking as well too. Whenever you're sharking, you basically want to stay as close to them as possible in the air and not touch the ground. If you ever have to, like, reset your jumps or something, you should wave one off the back of the, like, the side of the side platform in order to get your jumps back, is the only distinction. Don't like going for up tilt on side B, I'm not gonna lie, because they could have just gone for an angle to hit ledge, and you can't up tilt the ledge is how it kind of works. So instead of facing backwards again, you would turn around and face forwards here, and you can
For
actually
the fair.
yeah, you can literally fair the side beyond reaction for sure. Sometimes though, you don't have enough time to actually get the fair out, in which case you just go for drill as well too. Drill is also really good in terms of like it's faster, and it also has pretty good hitboxes to hit the side B, so you could drill there too. Drill might have been actually the only option you had. Okay. Alright, you hit Fox off stage this time. You have like a medium amount of time to high amount of time in order to like get off stage. So after hitting them, I would just turn around off stage. This short hop was really good. I like this if I was turning around. Once I see them go for an up B here, I basically know I don't have enough time to hit this. It's pretty close, honestly. If you have enough time to hit this, I would say no. So once I decided there's no time to hit this, I would probably go to about this distance. And then when I go to about here, it basically threatens that I can like jump off stage and try and hit them, even though I don't have enough time to do it. So they're probably not going to go for an angle that is high, and they're probably going to go ledge, and I'll probably just grab ledge on that situation. So that's like one type of bait to do. Again, don't hit them when they're going to die. It's pretty important for sure. All right, let me look at the rest of my notes, see if there's anything, and if you have any questions.
Okay. Sure.
Okay. Whenever it does happen, I think later in the game, but whenever Fox hits you with that smash, you can just rest that shield that. And then whenever like someone misses a tech, basically you just jab reset them the first time as like a pretty good rule of thumb. Whenever you put them in like a weird like situation, just hard reading that they're gonna miss the tech and jab resetting them is good. And then once they hit the tech there, never jab reset again. Basically, if they miss a tech in a high press situation and react to it and you can jab reset it, that's great. If not, just don't worry about it. Just assume that they will hit the tech and assume that they are better. Is pretty good. And then, but you don't want to assume they're better until they've shown that they're good, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Whenever you're in invincibility, by the end of it, you don't want to, let me see if I can get, maybe it's this, maybe it's the next invincibility. Just so let's see the sequence. Because you definitely just like get hit after invincibility, which is not good. Okay, it's probably this one. So yeah, like by the end of invincibility, you should not like be next to Fox without invincibility, if that makes sense, or any character. So just be careful on invincibility. Most of the time you only have like really one good hard read. So in this spot, you go for it as you think that Fox is going to double jump the side platform. You think he's going to do it later, later than he does. So that's fine. You miss your one hard read, and now you have a soft read. Basically what I mean by that is you can predict Fox moving one situation, and what you do, you predict that Fox is going to run off the side platform this way or shield drop. And both those situations would have lost your back here, right? So you predict that. You use one hard read or one soft read, and see how your invincibility is about to end. That is basically invincibility as like a nutshell. You have one hard read and one soft read, and you use both of them. So now you have to just land safely and not land towards Fox, and that's just really important for sure. And yeah, I think that's everything that I had for sure.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah, like what's like, well, in terms of like when you punish game, what's like a recommended way you go about practicing? Like just like a quick like here's this one thing that'll help your punish game.
Definitely like the combo training in Uncle Punch is how I practice my punish game. In terms of that, like you can also use save states too. Like I'm sure you've seen like on Twitter, like the save state of people doing reaction check chase rest is good too. I personally don't practice that way because I like to practice when I don't get the reaction check chase or in different platform situations. But if you only want to practice one thing, then you can make a save state for it. But if you want to practice like basically combo game in general, you should just use combo training because you can set the CPU to like, I use invincible and frame perfect mash out, so I know that all my punishes are going to be perfect. And I can like change like the way he techs and stuff like that if I want to practice like against like tech in because I feel like I'm bad against it. Like let's say like I just like throw out back here on the ground and I'm bad at covering tech in, I just send him to tech in. That's basically how I practice all my punish game essentially.
Cool.
And then also like, if I don't know like a flowchart, usually the Puff Bible has a lot of flowcharty type stuff. Some of it might not be like up to date essentially, but I also like, if I start with that usually whenever I'm like unsure about my punish game in a matchup, and then I like retest it and see if there's anything better I can do. Essentially, was also another big thing.
Yeah. Also, last thing is like, you know what Alex's Puff stuff?
Yeah.
Is that good?
Yeah, there's still a lot of good stuff in that in terms of it's not really going to be outdated. Essentially, Puff meta hasn't progressed to the point where we're going to be outdating things from 2016. Maybe some Hungrybox gameplay for sure, because Hungrybox doesn't really follow the meta game too hard. He just does Hungrybox stuff. But yeah, that's those blogs are still really good for sure.
But yeah.
All right.
I'm definitely gonna rewatch that and try to apply some of that stuff.
Yeah, it should be
a lot of it
done this weekend for sure. It'll be uploaded.
Yeah, because like I feel like a lot what you were saying is to be more aware of like where my opponent is and where I am and what I can do to like reset or like what I like how to get into like a better situation.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of you're putting yourself into bad spots and like keep putting yourself into bad spots and not like choosing good spots is like a big like overarching thing I was looking at for sure. Yeah. All right. Well, I hope you have a good holiday, and I'll see you around.
Yeah, thank you.
Peace.
See you around.